All right, guys, welcome back. We got another Ashes of Creation video here for you all. So today I want to talk a little bit about how much money and how long it generally takes to develop an MMO. I've heard a lot of people asking me, oh, when do you think this game's going to come out? And concerned about some of the pushbacks we've had. Well, I think if we have a discussion and look at other MMOs, we can really figure out where we're at with Ashes. And if you do enjoy this content, please do drop a like and subscribe. And I also stream Ashes of Creation content over on Twitch, so please swing by, especially after the NDA drops. And before we go into the video, I do want to just say one thing. I want to clear it up. In my passives video, I said that I thought that we were getting separate skill points for passive and active skills. This was not true. So if you look up on the screen here, you can see they display it in a little bit of a weird way. The 20 out of 22 and the 9 out of 22 had me confused. This means you've spent 20 points in passives, 9 points in actives, and you have 22 leftover skill points. So it's a little bit weird how they display it, but just be aware of that moving forward. Well, with that said, let's get into the video. So I just want to start out by quickly going over some of the popular MMOs and how long they were in development, as well as how much money it took to get them developed. So World of Warcraft was announced in 2001, but did not release until 2004. However, most of the information I can find say that it was roughly a 5-year development cycle. So that's something important to note. A game has generally been in development for at least a few years before it's actually announced to the public. And WoW is said to have cost about $63 million. The original Guild Wars was released in 2005, but ArenaNet was founded in 2000, which gives it also a 5-year development cycle. Guild Wars 2 began development in 2006 and was released in 2012. And I can't really find any numbers specifically on how much either of these cost, but Guild Wars 2 is kind of said to be approximately around 50 million. Now, Elder Scrolls Online was in development for about 7 years before it was released in 2014, and the numbers I can find say that it cost at least $200 million to develop. So that's insane. And Star Wars: The Old Republic began development in 2005 and released in 2011, and that also cost over $200 million. So now let's look at Ashes. So Intrepid Studios was founded in 2015, and Steven injected $30 million of his own money and is probably now invested a decent amount more than that. And I cover a lot of this in my video about Intrepid as a business, so there will be a link to that video at the top. We are currently approaching the 6-year development mark for Ashes of Creation. Now, a few things to note here is that Intrepid is a lot more ambitious than a lot of the projects we talked about earlier. The size of the game and all the things that you're able to do within the game, everything that changes in the world, this is just far bigger than all these other MMOs. And games have also come a long way since the 2000s, when a lot of the games we were just talking about were developed. And when I say 2000s, I mean early 2000s, before 2010. And games have come a long way since then. They need to be far bigger, a lot more complex, and have much higher quality graphics to keep people interested. That's the other thing to note. Intrepid is using all of their own art. So they're completely starting from scratch in terms of assets. They're not buying any assets from stores or anything like that. And they've also had to set up a brand new studio in terms of hiring people, setting up a company structure and culture. And they're also starting with a brand new IP. So a lot of these other games, even if they were started by new companies, they were using already established IPs, which makes it a lot easier to get people onboarded and interested in the project. There have also been a decent amount of setbacks for Intrepid. So the obvious one here is COVID. So obviously COVID has caused delays in all kinds of movies and video games and just delays everywhere. And then they also had the major error they found in Apocalypse. So the Battle Royale they released to kind of test their combat backend, they found a major issue there, and that kind of set them back by about a year. Now, I would say looking at all of this, they're pretty much on track. I mean, most people are saying that the game will release in about 2 years. So that'll put us at an 8-year development cycle. So obviously, the more money you spend on a project, the faster things go. And we don't know exactly where they are at with finances right now. But if Steven has put in between $30 and $45 million, then obviously they've had the Kickstarter and some of the pre-order packages. I mean, I'm not seeing them at the $200 million mark like ESO and SWTOR, but yeah, I think we're kind of on track for an 8-year development cycle. And that's kind of what I see with where we're at right now. Now, if you look at the Star Citizen development cycle, and I know this is a sore subject for a lot of people, but they started development in 2012, and they still haven't released the game 9 years later. They have also been confirmed to have spent $420 million on this project. It is the most amount of money spent developing any kind of video game, and yeah, we don't even have a product yet. So I think Ashes of Creation has set themselves up far better for success than a game like Star Citizen. They just have a far better handle on what they want to do with the game and what is possible. And now Star Citizen has been pretty well mismanaged, but they've also allowed a lot of feature creep, which just keeps adding on to all the complexities that need to be added into the game before launch. Now, Intrepid, from what I can see, has also really focused on setting up a good management structure and a good business culture. And I think we all want this game to release in the state promised to us. We don't want it rushed out. We don't want changes made or major systems within the game dropped because they want to get it out and start making money back. And that's honestly why I don't have a problem spending some money on cosmetics and backer packs. And obviously, if you don't have expendable income, don't do this. You can just sit back and wait for the game to release. But hopefully, taking a look at this helps you understand why so many people have spent a decent amount of money supporting them. And that's the other thing, too. We don't want it to become Star Citizen either, where we just keep throwing money at them and they'd end up going nowhere with it. So what I would say is we're not wildly off track here in terms of time spent or money spent on this project. And obviously, we don't know exactly the finances here. We have confirmation of the 30 million, and then I believe Steven has said, just kind of in Discord, that he's probably pushing into close to a $45 million investment, at least at this point. But that's still nowhere close to the 200 million some games have spent, or the over 400 million that a certain game has spent. And obviously, that's generally a sliding scale, right? The more money you spend, the faster you get the product out. The less money you spend, the more time it's going to take. And that goes back to, yes, if we keep, spending a little bit of money before the game is even out on cosmetics and things like that, that only helps them push forward faster. However, I would say the pushbacks we've seen and some of this not meeting dates, I think that's very common in MMO development. It's just not something the public generally sees. So Ashes of Creation has taken a little bit of a different development cycle, and they've allowed the consumers a peek behind the curtains, essentially. They're giving us these dates that would normally never come into the picture until we're a lot closer to something like a beta. And they've dropped the verbal NDA, and they're potentially going to be dropping the visual NDA very soon. And so this is something that other companies have never done. So when you're seeing these pushbacks this early, it's nothing to worry about, in my opinion. Okay, so now I want to play a little game with you guys. And so I want everyone to guess what date they think Ashes of Creation is going to release. And I'm going to come back, when we get an official release date and take a look and see who was closest. And I guess I should say, we may actually wait till the game releases, right? Because we've seen actual release dates get pushed back in a lot of games. But once we get the game out, I'm going to come back, see who was closest, and that person is going to get a shout out in one of my videos, and they'll probably also win some other prize. I don't want to make any promises right now because we're still like at least 2 years out. But obviously, I'm hoping to get official content creator, and with that comes some giveaway things and all of that. So when I do figure out a little bit more, I will make an update announcement, and we'll get everyone to go ahead and make a guess. And at a certain point, I am going to shut off the guessing as well. So yeah, we'll use this video. And as I said, I'll make a new video at some point that says, okay, any guesses after this date no longer count. But anyway, this is what I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was a little bit helpful so that you kind of get a better understanding of where we're at in an average MMO development cycle. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll hopefully see you guys on the next one.